now tuned in
You are now tuned into
to the realest show on YouTube with your host, the Angryman.
What's good? What's going on, everybody? We back in the stew yet again to chop it up about this topic. We was talking about this yesterday, and I felt the need to give this one more go around. We got to talk about it again because we were mistaken yesterday. That's right, we were mistaken. We thought that Black women lost 106,000 jobs, when in actuality, they lost 106,000 more jobs. They lost 106,000 more jobs. In other words, in addition to the amount that everybody else lost. You know that's crazy. So we're going to discuss this one more time. Shout out to Ofi TV. Said, if they don't know me by now, they never will. Don't know for the track. No doubt. Appreciate it. Let's see. That's the wrong one. Is this it right here? I think this is it. No, that's not it. Where the world is the... I do not see... Benoit. Shout out to Benoit for the membership. I don't see him in the chat. Shout out to Benoit. That's crazy. Why I don't see it? I want to put it on the screen. Anyway, shout out to that brother. Shout out to Chicago Loso for the membership. Earlier, shout out to Chicago Loso. He said he's playing my daddy's song. I had to come to the barbecue. Shout out to 30 Below. He said, looks like they got Zion. Did they? See who else we got in here. We're going to dive into this topic. So, like I said, they actually lost 106,000 more jobs. So basically, out of all the jobs that everybody lost this year, they lost 106 more, totaling 300,000 jobs since February. 300,000 jobs since February. That's almost 500,000 jobs, guys. That's over 250,000 jobs lost, right? Now, like I said yesterday, this wouldn't even be an issue. This would not even be an issue had you guys not fell for the okie doke. Like, let's be real. You literally fell for the okie doke, hook, line, and sinker, right? And we've been trying to tell you this. Shout out to Mogul Mays. He said feminism is their demise. Facts. We've been trying to tell you this for years. We've been trying to say this for a very long time, right? Now, what we've been trying to say is that, look, you want to go out and get your education, cool. You want to go out and get a job, cool. But you shouldn't be abandoning the idea of pair bonding. You shouldn't be abandoning the idea of marriage. You shouldn't be abandoning the idea of man and woman being together. But like a kid with a toy, like a child with a new toy that the other kids don't have, what did you do? You showed out. You basically told black men that we wasn't shit. You don't need us. You know what I'm saying? We ain't shit. We raggedy. We ain't hitting on 2 damn cent. All that wild stuff, right? That's what you told us, right? Now, maybe, just maybe, you might actually be just humble enough at the moment to listen, right? This is the best route that any woman can take, even in the modern day. Even in the modern day. Regardless of your formal education and your secondary education and your career choices and your career goals, there's one fundamental truth that you have to understand, right? When you are a young girl growing up, you are under the protection and provision of your father. Flat out. If you're not under the protection and provision of your father, you are starting out in a deficit. Period. Point blank, period. Okay? It's like the video I showed the other day. I don't know if you guys were paying attention. In fact, let me click on the video again so y'all can see it. If you start out life without a father in the household with you, whether you are male or female, but especially if you're female, you are in a deficit. Here's a good example why.
So my body count is 500, and it got me thinking, what is the average person's? Like,
I hate when that happens. Give me 1 second, guys. Fix this. There we go. And now I knew something was up yesterday. I knew something was up yesterday because I'm like, why am I having to adjust this? I knew something was up yesterday. I should have left it alone. There we go. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. If you are a woman and you grew up without your father, you grew up in a deficit. You started out life in a deficit. Now, a lot of people will talk all day long about the importance of a father when it comes to sons. But trust and believe, there is a great deal of importance when it comes to a father and daughters. And here's a prime example of it.
so my body count is 500, and it got me thinking, what is the average person's? Like,
I'd be right up there with you, girl, except my dad kept saying this stupid phrase throughout my childhood. It was so redundant. What was it? Oh, I love you.
so my body...
Now, as funny as that is, it's the truth. This chick is on TikTok talking about her body count is 500, and it got her wondering, what is other people's body count? And the other chick is like, I would be right up there with you. But growing up, my dad kept saying this one thing to me. You know, it was real redundant. He kept saying it over and over. What was it again? Oh, yeah, I love you. So, number one, and this goes out to all of the ladies out there that think that you don't have to have a man in the household when you're raising children. You absolutely need to have a man in the household when you're raising children, regardless, right? Shout out to Benoit. Appreciate you. You absolutely have to have a man in the house when you're raising children, especially your daughters, right? Now, growing up, a girl is under the protection and the provision of her father, right? If he's there. Once she becomes an adult, let's say she's in college, she's still under the protection and provision of her father until she finds a husband. Once she finds a husband, she is then under the protection and provision of her husband. This is the entire reason for the ceremony of the father of the bride walking the bride down the aisle and then giving her to the groom. Now, because y'all are so extra feminist, a lot of you don't like that idea. What do you mean giving her away as if they own her? Well, look, let me tell you something. Your feminist attitudes do not negate the fact that you still need men in your life. That's the part y'all didn't get. That is the part you didn't get. There was a video that I was watching where this guy was talking about these sick guys that targeted children, right? And if I'm not mistaken, he said that the reason he would target certain children, he would look at the father. He said if the father did not look like he posed a threat, that's who he would go after. Okay? We're talking about predators, child predators. I forgot which one it was. That really doesn't matter. But he literally said that he would look at the family, he would look at the father. If the father looked like he didn't pose a threat, he would go after the children of that family. Now, I want you to think about that. That's if the father didn't pose a threat. Imagine when there's no father there at all. Do you women, those of you that love to tout your independence, because see, here's the thing. When y'all started with this whole, I'm strong and independent, I don't need a man because I'm not going to be in a relationship with a man that's going to rule over me, tell me what to do, all of that stuff, right? Here's the thing y'all didn't realize, right? Here's the thing y'all didn't realize. What you didn't realize is your selfish desires and mentality created a dangerous environment for your children. Flat out. Flat out. Your children have had to suffer simply because you want to prove to the world that you can operate without a man. Do y'all even realize that there are a lot of things that go on in your households simply because there isn't a man there? Do you realize when your daughter starts dating, if she makes the mistake of dating a guy that has the potential to be abusive, don't you know it is far more likely that that guy will not only continue to date your daughter, but will quite possibly be abusive simply because he knows her father ain't there? Y'all realize that? Do you realize that? Do you understand that a young boy in his teens is far more likely to treat your daughter with respect and dignity if he knows there is a grown man at that house that will wring his neck if he violates her or is disrespectful to her? Do you realize that? Of course not. Of course not. Because a lot of you, you'll have situations where the dude that you're dating, will come there and be messing with you, and then before you know it, messing with the daughter. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. I'm going to tell you God's honest truth, right? And you can get upset with me if you want. You can think that I'm lying, whatever. A household without a man ain't a damn household. I'm going to say that again. A household without a man ain't a damn household. Because no men in the world take that household seriously. No men in the world take that household seriously. Because if it's just mama there, by the time those, if there's a woman that has a household and it's just her and her children, right? If she has boys and girls, right? By the time those boys become teenagers, they're going to do whatever the hell they want. They ain't scared of mama. Oh, sure, they'll listen to you run your mouth, but they still going to do what they want to do. Because when boys get to a certain age, they start bucking. When boys get to a certain age, they start testing their boundaries. And most of these boys, when they become 6'3", 200 and some pounds, what is your 5'5", 100 and some pound soaking wet? What are you gonna do with that boy? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He gonna do what he want to do. And by that same token, the boys that your daughter date is going to come to that house and do whatever they want to do. You ain't stopping nothing. And then on top of that, because of the fact that you a single mama, Half the time you ain't even at that house. Half the time you ain't even there. You somewhere working. And while you somewhere working, your sons is bringing girls over there to have sex with. Your daughters is bringing boys over there to have sex with. Don't you remember Friday when Debo was laid up with Felicia? Remember when Smokey went over there and he's like, Debo in there with Felicia? Like, what? Felicia effing Debo too? Keep your voice down. Where is your mama at? She on vacation with her boyfriend. Smokey said, oh, y'all just parlaying up in here. She told Smokey, no, go. You, Debo in there? Let's be real. Let's be real. And I mean this. You women who chose to be single mamas, who chose to live in a household with your kids by yourself, you failed your children. That's just real. That's just real. You can get upset about it or whatever, right? But see, in the modern day, I'm going to tell you what I believe, especially when you're looking at the younger women. I figured out why the younger women have lost their minds. The younger women have lost their minds. You know how I know they've lost their minds? There's two things. One, they've lost their minds. And two, they have absolutely no desire for love, romance, relationships, any of that. You want to know the reason why? This is the first generations of women that don't listen to love music. This is the first generations of women, or the first generation of women, Gen X, not Gen X, Gen Z. They don't listen to love music. They don't listen to R&B. They don't fantasize about finding a husband. They fantasize about using a man. Why is that? Because all they do is listen to female rap music that just talks about using men. All they listen to is female rap music that talks about being transactional with men. If you were to get in a car right now with a girl that is, let's say you were 21, and let's say you had a traditional background. Let's say you were a 21-year-old dude and you was raised by your father and your mother, and you grew up in a household where they played all of the, they used to play all of the music. They played all of the old school music. They played R&B, all of that, right? If you were that guy and you were to get in a car and go pick up a girl for a date, and she's 21 too, and you were to play some R&B music, she'll look at you like you crazy. She'll look at you like you soft. She'll look at you like you a sucker. She'll be like, why are you playing this music? That's straight up facts. These women they don't be sitting around listening to love music. See, y'all love to talk about Gen X and say, "Oh, it ain't fair, angry man, because during Gen X, y'all had women that was ride or die. Y'all women was different." Yeah, you know why our women was different? Because they listened to songs like "Soon as I Get Home" by Faith Evans. Soon as I get home, I'll make it up to you. Baby, I'll do what I gotta do. The women that we came up with didn't even really listen to rap like that. They didn't even really listen to rap like that. See, the reason why y'all are having problems nowadays with this new batch of women is because they act like dudes. They sit around saying bro and cursing and getting tatted up and every look, I've never seen this many women in my life curse this much. They can't even get on social media without cursing like a sailor. And guess what? What produced all of that? I tell you what produced all of that. You women, you educated, career-driven women produced that. Because somewhere along the way, while you were fighting like hell to operate like men so that you wouldn't have to deal with men, you forgot to teach your daughters to be women. I'm going to say that again. Say that again, and you can get mad if you want to. Somewhere along the way of you pursuing education and career goals so that you could operate like a man, so that you wouldn't need a man, you forgot to teach your daughters to be women. And you didn't teach your sons anything. Because there damn sure wasn't no man there to teach them how to be men. And now you got a generation that don't even know how to do something as simple as date, as simple as pair bond, as simple as get married and raise children. You know what that's like? That's like a lion, that's like a lioness not teaching her cubs how to hunt. All because you want to prove to the world that you can exist independent of a man. And the only thing you've done is you have created a generation that is ill-equipped to do anything. Because here's the reality, right? You're sitting back watching all of these job losses, right? And this is something you don't realize. Right now, there is a perfect storm brewing. There's a perfect storm brewing. There is a storm on the horizon. I see it coming. A lot of the men see it coming, but you women don't see it coming. The great humbling is upon you. Now here's the thing. I want you to think about this. I had a conversation with Grinch earlier, and I said this, right? Whenever a situation happens like this, where you have a bunch of women losing their jobs, one of the first things that they usually depend on is simps or men to rescue them. Sometimes they can be one and the same, right? There's only one problem. Because of the conversations that have been had in these spaces, because of gentlemen like myself, Kevin Samuels, Coach Greg Adams, Anton Daniels, all of these individuals, Alpha Male Strategies, Steffes Cole, we have significantly depleted the amount of simps that are in circulation. Just through psychology, we have whittled down the number of simps that exist out here. You have countless men rethinking all of this. Countless men demanding more, not falling for the okie doke. Okay? In addition to that, and this is why I call it the perfect storm, in addition to that, the generation of men that would rescue you women are either married or on their way out. You don't even realize the boys you raised, the boys your mothers raised can't save you, because they are not going to take care of you. Not because they're not capable, but because they won't. They won't. They're not going to do it. Go look at how many young dudes is looking at Travis Hunter like he done lost his damn mind. These younger boys, they're not built the way traditional men are built. So they're not coming to your rescue. Hell, if anything, they looking at you like you need to tighten up and figure out what you're going to do in this job loss situation. Because a lot of them looking for you to take care of them. Like you couldn't make this up if you tried. The mentality that you had when you had all of the goodies from the government, the mentality that you had when you had affirmative action, DEI, government jobs, government assistance, all of the things that made you say you don't need a man, all of that made you so spiteful that you made sure that your sons didn't have fathers in their lives. is the very same reason that your daughters won't have good men to pick from. The irony is poetic. The irony is poetic. In an attempt to prove that men ain't shit, you created an entire generation of men that ain't shit. And now your daughters are going to suffer because of it. And all you had to do was keep your family together. All you had to do is not allow corporate jobs, government assistance, government funding to go to your head. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do. All you had to do was hold the line. All you had to do was keep your families together. Now, I don't know if y'all realize this, but if you go back, y'all love to talk about slavery, right? If you understand antebellum slavery, if you understand Reconstruction, if you understand Jim Crow, you would also understand how egregious it is for anybody in the black community to be breaking up families. You would understand how egregious that is. You should know better. You should know that the cornerstone of the black community is the black family. And what I'm trying my best to figure out, because I've never been able to understand this, why is it coming out of the civil rights era in that struggle and that fight for some semblance of equality, why would you women give black men your behind the kiss and jump on board with the feminist movement with a group of women who participated in you being oppressed? It doesn't make sense to me. How do you join a white woman's cause at the height of the civil rights era during Jim Crow? How do you do that? But you want to blame the men? But you want to blame the men? Have y'all ever really thought about that? Have y'all ever really thought about that? During Jim Crow and the civil rights era, black women joined feminism, which was a white woman's movement. Let that sink in for a second. Let that sink in for a second. Talk about being a Benedict Arnold. Talk about being a traitor. Talk about being treacherous. Talk about falling for the okie doke. Like, you can't be serious. Shout out to Elijah. You can't be serious. And not only did you do that, but they gave you a taste. They gave you a taste. They gave you a taste of government assistance. They gave you a taste of government jobs. They gave you a taste of corporate America through affirmative action. And that's why today you're losing your minds, because you just got cut off from your addiction. That's right. Black women, y'all are addicted to government support. You're addicted to it. Which is why this whole transition is going to hurt so much more. Because you're literally addicted. That's why you got women up there losing their minds on panels and doing speeches talking about some, I can't believe Trump is requiring that we got to work in order, you got to work a certain amount of hours in order to get food stamps. You do realize that let me try to say this without losing my shit. There is no way for me to articulate how ridiculous it is for a group of people to get behind a podium and talk shit to the government for not continuing to give them free handouts. Do you realize that's like going to a grocery store and cursing out the manager of the grocery store because they no longer give out free samples? You do realize that you were never entitled to any of that shit in the first place. It isn't mandatory that the government gives you food stamps. That ain't mandatory. It ain't mandatory to give you WIC, Section 8, public housing. It ain't even mandatory for them to give you government jobs and jobs in corporate America. That's not mandatory. They all up on social media talking about some, look at this. Look at how many jobs we lost. Okay. You will not be the first people in this country to lose jobs. What about all the people that lost their job on the Keystone Pipeline when y'all voted for that vegetable? You know how many people in this country have lost jobs no matter what type of degrees they had? So I'm going to tell you what it is with y'all. Y'all a bunch of spoiled brats This government has been taking care of y'all's trifling asses for so damn long that you think you're entitled to it. It's part of the reason, hell, it's the main reason you don't see any damn improvement in the black community. Why would you need to improve? All you gotta do is get on the bus, go down to social services, and sign up for some assistance. What would be the point? You want to know the main reason why the angry man is where the angry man is at today? You want to know the main reason why I ride around in a Corvette? You want to know the main reason why I got jewelry on and nice clothes and stuff? Because nobody ever gave me shit. I had to fight like hell for everything that I got. Everything that I own, every single red cent that I have ever got, I had to fight for it. And I literally mean that shit. I'm not one of these people that was given anything. I got homeboys that got grandfathers that gave them a house. When their grandfather passed away, the grandfather owned the house. He passed the house down to the grandson. Did nobody pass no house down to me? My grandmother has a house and land. That shit is in my cousin's name. That shit didn't get passed down to me. And I lived there. Ain't nobody give me no inheritance. Shit, back in the day when I was struggling, let me tell you something. If my problems exceeded $100, there wasn't a soul I could go to get that money. If I had a problem that was $500, if I couldn't figure out a way to get that $500, I was ass out. When I say ain't nobody give me shit, ain't nobody give me a damn thing. Nothing. Nothing. Like it's almost like I just sprung up out the ground. Didn't nobody feel the need to give me anything. The only thing that niggas gave me was a bunch of damn excuses. That's all niggas gave me. That's all I received the majority of my life. Anytime I reached out for a helping hand or asked somebody to help me, give me a leg up, have some sort of support system, the only thing I got back was excuses. And you know the reason why I can talk shit like this? Because if people would have helped me half as much when I was struggling as I help people today, I would have been all right. That's why I can talk this shit. Because I do a hell of a lot more for folks than people did for my black ass. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. It's like 50 said on a mix CD. He said, if a nigga hand his hand out to me I spit in it because ain't nobody never gave me nothing. That's why that's why whenever I sit back and I look at any of these niggas, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you male or female. Every time I hear niggas talking about food stamps, Section 8, reparations, that shit pisses me the fuck off. It pisses me off. It pisses me off to even think about the fact that there's people out here that expect strangers to take care of them, strangers to finance their lifestyle. Nigga, family wouldn't even finance my lifestyle. You know something? I'm gonna tell you how bad it is. I'm gonna tell you how bad it is. I'm gonna tell you just how bad it is, right? Half the time, I don't even answer my phone. I don't answer my phone. I don't respond to text messages. You know, I told my wife, I said, you know why I move like that? Because the only time people come looking for me is when they want something. Now, I want y'all to think about this for a second. I want you to think about this for 1 second, right? Just imagine how nasty this work is. Just imagine you spent your whole life with nobody doing nothing for you. But the moment you get a little something, everybody got their hand out. Tell me that's not nasty work. Tell me that is not nasty work. That has got to be the nastiest work of all. That's why I'm sorry. I don't have no sympathy for these individuals. I don't. I don't. I don't want to live in a world where I gotta work my ass off to get the little bit I got. And all you gotta do is complain to the government and they give you the same shit that I got. Me and my wife, before we got married, when we first started dating and cohabitating and shit, we would go to the grocery store and we trying to make the little bit of money we got work. And right in front of us is a chick with so much food in the cart, it's spilling out of the cart. So here we are, two people that work for our money, struggling to get a little bit of grocery. And there's a chick in front of us with a mountain of food in her cart, and the only thing she had to do to get it was open her legs and lay up with some sorry Negro and produce some children. And the rest of us ain't supposed to feel no type of way about that. Go to the grocery store at the first of the month, there ain't no steak, no shrimp, none of that shit. Like, damn, these niggas is living good. In fact, you look at the way a lot of these Negroes was living, it would make you as a working class person think to yourself, damn, I'm a damn fool for working. But we supposed to feel bad cause the damn free ride is over? Well, I got news for you. Y'all can get mad at Trump all you want to. Y'all can get mad at the government all you want to, but here's the reality of it. The reality is the government cannot continue to do that shit. Period. This country cannot continue to do that shit. Do you realize just between the student loan debt and the amount that is used for all of these entitlement programs, just that alone keeps us in debt as a country. Just that alone keeps us in debt. Because here's the funny thing, right? The funny thing to me is when you have all of these people talking about we're the most educated. Well, technically, you shouldn't be the most educated because you didn't pay for your damn education. I bet you any amount of money, if you had to pay for that education up front, then let's see how many of y'all got degrees. Then let's see how many of y'all are educated. No, all this is the chickens coming home to roost. This is you reaping what you sow. Now, you got to get out here and get it like the rest of us. No more depending on a government job. No more depending on being favored in corporate America. No more resting on your laurels and collecting whatever resources you collected. No, now you got to get out here and get it like the rest of us. Now you got to pay for your health insurance like everybody else. Now you got to pay for your groceries like everybody else and pay the tax on your groceries like everybody else. Shout out to M.A. Said, good evening, Angryman. How are you and your wife? Be encouraged, sir. Appreciate you. Shout out to Stan. He said, single father to an 18-year-old daughter for about 9 years. She's super on point. That's what's up. Shout out to Benwa. Says, shout out to you and the family. Appreciate you all. Appreciate you. Shout out to Quiet Faith said, AG, women outsource their protection to the government just like food and shelter. They leave themselves uncovered and the children naked knowingly. Yeah, knowingly. Shout out to Tim Dog. He said, facts, AM. Remember Debo punched Felicia in the eye when he thought that she stole from him. Debo couldn't do that if Felicia had a pops in the house. Exactly. Exactly. Because it wasn't Craig's responsibility to be fighting for them. Their father was supposed to be there. Shout out to Daniel Jackson. React said, I was raised to treat women with respect. My fiance has a dad I always show respect to. If I was to treat my fiance bad, guess what? Her dad would kick my ass, and he has a gun, so her dad don't play. Shout out to Forever Studios. He said, talk your talk, angry man. Shout out to Victor. He said that NYC, LA, shy, tough girl stuff ruined this whole country of B-dubs. Shout out to Upgrade Your Mindset. Said, AM, just look at the baddies show. Women fist fighting like rabid dogs. It's a disgrace. Shout out to Paper Soldier for gifting the 10 memberships. Shout out to Cutie Exec. He said, this just proves that B-dubs are not doing as well as they claim. It was all smoke and mirrors. Most educated, better than BM. Ha. The hit dogs are hollering. Yep. That's all it was. It was an illusion. It was an illusion, because if they were doing as well as they claim they're doing, this whole job thing right now, they wouldn't even care. They wouldn't even care. It wouldn't even be phasing them. Shout out to Omar. Omar said, just came in. I got done recording. Trust Gang. Appreciate it. Shout out to Big Mike. He said, these past 2 shows is gospel. Shout out to Malik. He said, cooking as per usual. Yes, indeedy. Let's see who we got here. Let's see. Shout out to Hollywood Hayes. Said, donating for the groceries because you be cooking. Shout out to Kadeen for being a sponsor of the show. He said, what's up, big bro? My apologies for not contributing in a while. I fell into a rough patch, but I managed to come up out of it in a large part thanks to you motivating me and other BINOs to level up. All the love to you, fam. Keep cooking with fresh grease. Yo, shout out to Kadeen. Hey, man, I'm sorry to hear you was going through some BS. I'm glad you came up out of it. And I don't know how much of a role that I played in it, but I'm glad that I gave some encouraging words that helped out, and I definitely appreciate the sponsorship.
That's that BINO energy.
That's definitely BINO energy. Appreciate you for that, brother. Shout out to Roderick. He said, you cooking, AM. Appreciate you, bro. Real talk. Let's see. Shout out to Grav. He said, keep cooking, AM. But to get back to my original point, because right now, we're going to watch as a lot of these ladies are going to go through withdrawal because you've utilized the system, or excuse me, you've substituted the system for your man. And it's interesting because I don't think you ever thought that the system would let you down. But what I'm trying to figure out is you should have knew that that wasn't going to last forever. You should have knew that wasn't going to last forever. How long do you think the system could keep propping you up? See, now I'm going to tell you what we really about to witness. We really about to see what y'all are made of. That's what we really about to see. And like I said, you know, I talked about it yesterday jokingly, but I'm gonna say this straight up and down. We're about to see what y'all are made of. And for the love of God, don't disappoint us. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I see an uptick in women joining sugar daddy sites, if I see an uptick of women doing OF or worse, if I see an uptick of women selling box, I'm going to be so disappointed. I'm going to be so disappointed. Because now is the perfect opportunity to put some action behind them words. Now is the perfect opportunity to prove definitively that you're who you think you are. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't think you sisters are who you think you are. I don't. I think that for a long time, y'all been out here talking trash like the great and powerful Oz. And really, there's just a little inexperienced, very little confidence chick behind the curtain with a bunch of wheels and lights and shit. I don't believe y'all are who you think you are. And I've always wondered what would happen if all of that support from the powers that be dried up. I always wondered what would happen. Always wondered what would happen. And now we about to find out. We about to find out. Grab said the cream will always rise to the top. Yeah. And look, don't get me wrong. There's some of them out there, they're going to figure it out. There's some out there that's going to figure it out because they're going to have to. But I'm interested to see how many. I want to see how many going to figure it out, and I want to see how many ain't. Because, like, look, I know it's old-fashioned. I know it's very traditional. But still, the best route that any woman can take is to grow up in a household under the protection and provision of her father, whether she graduate high school and go to college or not go to college. Her next step, regardless of what she's doing, should be to find a good man, date, court, engage, marry, and build a life together. That is, and will always be the best course of action for women. You can disagree with that all you want. But I'm going to tell you who I don't see out here crying. I'm going to tell you who I don't see out here whining about not having jobs. I haven't seen a pick-me yet. All of the women that y'all call pick-me's, I haven't seen them say nothing yet. All of the women that y'all call pick-me's, I haven't seen a single one of them say, oh my God, we lost all of these jobs. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. Have y'all seen it? All of the women that y'all disparage by trying to create a derogatory term like pick me, which just basically means a woman that wants to be in a long-term working relationship with a man. You treat it like there's something wrong with that. But I haven't seen any of these women complaining. I haven't seen any of them complain. But the rest of you, y'all running around here like junkies looking for a fix. The only problem is your dealer, Uncle Sam, done cut you off. No more government assistance for you. And keep in mind, when I say government assistance, I'm not just talking about food stamps and Section 8 and all of that. When I say government assistance, I'm talking about corporate jobs, government jobs. I'm talking about all of that. I'm talking about all of that because, look, I'm going to keep it all the way funky. There's an illusion. And this is the illusion. The illusion is that the women in our society are more upwardly mobile than the men. It's bullshit. What happens is you have men and women applying for those government jobs, but they favor the women. You have men and women in corporate America, but they favor the women. That's why I call it government assistance. Regardless, but Angryman, the corporations aren't the government. It doesn't matter. The government gives them tax breaks for hiring women. So again, that's government assistance. The government jobs that favor women when they hire women, that's government assistance. All of it is government assistance. So when a corporation hires a woman that's black because she classifies as a double minority and they get a tax break for that through the government, that's government assistance. When government jobs, courthouses and all of that hire black women over black men, that is government assistance. And I know this for a fact. I worked for a company that had a government contract. It was a corporation that had a government contract. And guess what? On that floor that I worked on, I was the only man in there. Do you honestly think no other men applied? I was the only man in there. And guess what? The women that interviewed me wasn't going to give me the job. There was only one woman. I interviewed with 3 women. There was one older white lady that looked at my record, looked at my resume and my background and said, no, I'm going to hire him. The other 2 didn't want to hire me. And I know why, because I'm a dude. They even had one department that was for breast cancer research. They said men weren't even allowed to apply for that job. And I'm like, wait a minute, how is that even possible? That violates equal employment. But anytime you see these corporate jobs, you go look in the human resource department, it's a bunch of women in there. And what they've been doing is they've been gatekeeping. That's why any corporate setting you go into, there's always way more women than men. You go to a call center, the ratio is going to be 8-2. For every 8 women, there might be 2 men, maybe. Like the world has been favoring women for the past, for my entire lifetime. So for the past 40 years, our country has been favoring, coddling, and propping up women. And now they're crying because we're looking at the end of it. Make no mistake about it. We are looking at the end of that. You know why we're looking at the end of that? Because men finally spoke up. Men finally started speaking up and complaining about it. If you think for one second that the conversations that we've had here, the conversations that have permeated and spread throughout the entire world and the entire culture, if you think it has not affected the world we live in, you're crazy. When somebody comes in here and say, Angryman, you're doing God's work, they're not joking. They're being literal. You are seeing, you are literally witnessing the decay of the gynocracy. Period. Their last hope was Kamala Harris getting elected. And they know it. That's the main reason why 92% of the women from our culture and community voted for her. She was the last hope. Because guess what? And make no mistake about it, had she got elected, they wouldn't have lost them jobs. Had she got elected, they wouldn't have lost them jobs. They would have still been going strong. They would have still been going strong. The men on the internet in all of these spaces that have put in work for over 10 years, what is the result? The result is Chicago rethinking how they do child support. The result is Florida changing the way they do alimony. The result is certain states trying to introduce mandatory paternity tests. The result is the repealing of Roe v. Wade, putting it back in the hands of the states. The result is work requirement for food stamps. Work requirement for government assistance. Limitations on government assistance. Make no mistake about it, gentlemen. The world has gotten sick and tired of being sick and tired. Because quite frankly, what's going on with the chicks in our society, it has gotten out of hand. It's gotten out of hand and it's getting worse. It's just progressively getting worse. And I feel like somebody somewhere has said, you know what? Enough is enough. This is getting out of hand. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Shout out to Jay. He said, P for P numbers about to skyrocket. Yeah. Like, enough is enough. Enough is enough. What are we doing here? Like, because truth be told, and I've said it numerous times, I've said you have men that are in power back in the day, in the early 1900s, that wanted to solidify their position by putting men under the thumb of feminist women. So all of this, in my opinion, has been a way of keeping the men at the bottom from rising to the top. But the only problem is it has run its course so badly that what difference does it make if you're at the top and there's nothing at the bottom? Surely you know the folly of being a king without a kingdom. You can't be a king if you don't have a kingdom. How are you going to be the top of the society if there's no society? And that's what's happening. That's what's happening right now. The most valuable resource in the world is people. How are you going to have more people if the current young people don't want to get married because the men feel like if I get married, I done worked all my life for all of this money, all she gonna do is divorce me and take it. So they don't want to get married. They don't want to have children because if they have children, they're gonna get raked over the coals in child support court. They don't want to live together because the women don't want to work in conjunction with the men. They just want to use the men. So guess what? We're right back where we were before during the free love era, right? During the free love era, things was going to shit. This is where you get a lot of those STDs from, where everybody just wanted to have free love, free sex, that whole hippie movement bullshit, where everybody was high, having sex with everybody, having illegitimate children, spreading all types of disease. When Ronald Reagan came in office, he had to figure out a way to get America back on track. And one of the ways to get America back on track was to promote family again. That's the only thing that's going to save America. The only thing that's going to save America is promoting family again. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. In fact, I've said this before numerous times. This book right here, Sex and Culture, originally published by Oxford Press in 1934, J.D. Unwin conducted this landmark study of 86 civilizations through 5,000 years of history and found a positive correlation between the cultural achievement of a people and the sexual restraint they observe. The evidence is that human societies are free to choose either to display great energy or to enjoy sexual freedom. It appears they cannot do both for more than one generation. The whole of human history does not contain a single instance of a group becoming civilized unless it has been absolutely monogamous, nor is there any example of a group retaining its culture after it has adopted less rigorous customs. In other words, the more we move towards, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have a family, I just want to be free, I just want to do what I feel like doing, the closer we get to the destruction of our civilization. Past performance will always be an indicator of future performance. Those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. Family structure is the cornerstone of civilization. This is part of the reason why the Bible always spoke against that. The Bible has always spoke against free sex and heathenism hedonism and just doing what you want to do. That's the whole reason why the Bible speaks against that. This is the entire reason the Bible promotes marriage, promotes family, promotes women being chaste, promotes women, not being promiscuous, promotes men being fathers and leaders of their community. This is the main reason why it promotes that. Because to do otherwise literally invites the destruction of your current civilization. But you can't tell nobody nothing nowadays because everybody just wants to do whatever the hell they want to do. As someone said back in the day, you can raise a nation no higher than its women. Considering the current state of our women, shout out to Chubby said, Psalms 11:3, King James Version, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Facts. Like, there's no getting around this. There's no getting around this. You women that are all about don't shame me and I should be able to do what I want and sexual freedom and all that. That is literally the devil speaking. Because I don't care how you clean it up. All of this stuff that y'all be talking about doing nowadays, it's the Jezebel spirit. That's all it is. That's all it is. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but it leads to one thing. It don't lead to nothing good. That's for certain. It don't lead to nothing good. It leads to destruction. Shout out to JT. He said, thank God for Trump. Shout out to Durward. Said, a little season for the pot. Appreciate it. Like, that's just real shit. Like, anytime I see, like, all of this, look. When you see Glorilla you see Glorilla, you see freaking Meg Thee Stallion, you see all of these chicks acting buck-ass wild, that is what you call harlots. You feel me? And nothing good comes of that. Nothing good comes of a society filled with loose women. Like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing good comes of a society of loose women. But anyway, I've been on here long enough. I'm about to get up out of here, man. If y'all want me to continue doing studio shows, always remember to support the studio show. We will do more studio shows, all of that good stuff. Shout out to everybody that came through and supported the show. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Kadeen for his massive contribution. Shout out to Carell. Shout out to Cali Bills. As always, I appreciate every last one of you guys. Shout out to my man Carell, always supporting. Shout out to everybody that contributed to the show. I definitely appreciate you guys. Make sure you go check out my book, The Angryman Standard, which is available on Amazon. All you have to do is type The Angryman Standard in the search bar and it will come up. If you want to check out the merchandise, all you have to do is click the link on the screen, or you can go to shopBinoNation.com. Again, that's shopBinoNation.com. But other than that, I'm going to get up out of here and I'm going to holler at you. Hold on one second. Purge the BS said, how do I get the book signed? Did you order it already? Because if you haven't ordered it already, the way you get a signed copy is Cash App me $50 for a paperback, $100 for a hardcover, and email me your address. That's all you have to do. So if you want paperback, Cash App $50 and just type paperback in there and email me your address at asktheangryman@gmail.com. If you want the hardcover, Cash App $100, type hardcover, and email me your address. When you email me, make sure you let me know the name you used in the Cash App. You feel me? So that's how you do that. But yo, other than that, man, I'm going to get up out of here. Shout out to everybody. I appreciate y'all. And I'm going to holler at y'all tomorrow. Deuces.
Spartans! What is your profession?